2017 så gavs Nobelpriset i fysiologi och medicin till 3 forskare för deras upptäckter av hur det cirkadiska rytmen, alltså vår inre biologiska klocka, fungerar. Och nu har forskaren Sachin Panda kommit med boken 24-timmarskoden som handlar om hur vi kan påverka vår egen hälsa genom att anpassa oss till den här dygnsrytmen. Och det handlar mer om när vi äter och när vi tränar och sover än hur mycket. Welcome to my show, Mr. Sachin Panda, professor at Salk Institute in California. Welcome.
I'm glad to be in your show. Thank you.
It's early in the morning and it's warm in California, isn't it?
Yes, it's relatively warm.
We are going to talk about something that is called the circadian rhythm. And the Swedish title of your book is the 24 Hours Code. Could you just explain what the circadian rhythm is?
Well, the circadian literally means 24 hours rhythms. In our body, we have this timetable of what time different brain chemicals or hormones or even our digestive juice and genes turn on and off in every 24 hours. So that's why we call these 24 hours rhythms or circadian rhythms.
Why is it so important to follow the rhythm and not work against it, sort of?
Well, we evolved on this planet that has 24 hours day-night cycle. So that's why our physiology, metabolism, brain function, sleep, wakefulness, everything is tied to this 24 hours rhythms. And another reason why we have rhythms is we cannot do everything at one time. For example, we cannot sleep and drive. We cannot eat during our sleep. So this is a way to organize our body's physiology and daily activities to different time of the day so that our body is most optimum and is healthy.
And this was also the Nobel Prize 2017. Why was this so late that that this was given to the Nobel Prizes? Because, I mean, this is something that we probably would have known since, Stone Age.
Well, we have been, yes. Essentially born on the planet 200,000 years ago. But we just woke up to its importance in modern days because we have been breaking our rhythm almost universally. And when we break our rhythms, then we get closer to many diseases. So literally, we just woke up to the importance of circadian rhythms in the last few years. Another reason was, for a very long time, we thought, and scientists thought, that these rhythms are dictated by the sun and the moon. But what is exciting about these rhythms is, for example, if you lock me in this room with no access to any time information outside, then I will wake up and go to sleep and I'll feel hungry just like clockwork, as if there is a clock inside me. And the big discovery in this field was there is, in fact, a molecular clock that's present in almost every organism on this planet. And these clocks work very similarly between a fruit fly or a banana fly, a mouse, and humans. Mm-hmm. So that was the big discovery. That's why the Nobel Prize came so late. But it's good that it came. Now people all over the world are understanding and realizing the importance of circadian rhythms.
I will show a graphic here which shows the 24-hour rhythm, as the title is in the Swedish book. Could you explain that? You have it where you are now. It's the moon and the sun, and you can see the most important hours for us.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, if you lock me or if you isolate anyone in a room, they will have this rhythm. So that means, for example, if you're lucky enough to have gone to bed around 10 o'clock at night, then your deepest sleep would have happened around 2 o'clock in the morning. And then even before you wake up, your body would begin to warm up, your heart would pump slightly better, and then you will wake up feeling completely fresh. Then after a few minutes, the sleep hormone melatonin will begin to go down, and then the stress hormone or the alertness hormone cortisol will begin to rise. The first half of the day, our body is much better in processing carbohydrates and large meals, and our brain is also most alert to have any complex task or a complicated meeting, business negotiation, for example. In the afternoon, our muscles are much better to do exercise with minimum risk for injury. And then at night, as the night rolls in, we will begin to produce the sleep hormone melatonin and will go back to sleep. So these rhythms will happen every single day. In fact, the best biomarker of health and vitality is having these rhythms every single day.
So you are talking in the book, you are talking about the window, sort of eating window. Could you explain, because that's quite a short period of time compared to how people eat today?
Yes, just like our brain has a clock that needs to rest for 7 to 8 hours, almost every organ in our body also has its clock. That means every organ needs to rest for 8 to 9 hours. So, for example, when we have our last meal, say at 6 o'clock in the evening, then although we finish eating, our stomach and our digestive system continues to work for another 5 to 6 hours. So that means they get to go to sleep around midnight. And in the next day morning, when you wake up and have our breakfast say around 8 o'clock, that means they just got 8 hours of sleep. Our stomach and liver got 8 hours of sleep. So that's why it translates to having at least 14 hours of fasting time every day to let our organs repair, reset, and rejuvenate so that we can have a healthy clock. So now coming back to the window of time. So now if we have 14 hours of fasting, then we can eat for 10 hours, maximum say 12 hours. But what we are seeing is in many clinical studies and in preclinical models, eating consistently within 8 to 10 hours seems to give the best benefit in preventing chronic disease, managing chronic disease, and also reversing, in some cases, obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and increasingly a growing list of diseases found among young individuals, middle-aged, and also among adults.
If we take an example, so for instance, at what time in the morning is the best time to eat, and at what time is the best time to have your last meal? You were mentioning 6 o'clock p.m., but when should you start to eat?
So the point is you got to find your own timing that works best for your lifestyle. So the rule of thumb is after you wake up, wait at least an hour, or ideally 2 hours, before you start your first meal. Because after we wake up for the first 1 or 2 hours, our night hormone are going down and our day hormones are coming up. And it's not a good idea to eat when there is this changing of the guards of the hormones. So after you wake up, wait for 1 or 2 hours, start eating, and then you can count 8, 10, or maximum 12 hours. And that's when it's ideal to eat. So if you wake up at 6 o'clock, then your eating window might start around 7 or 8, or even later. And then if you count 10 hours, then it will stop around, say, 5 or 6 p.m. in the evening. But some of you may want to start the eating window a little later, say at 10, 11, or even some people would like to start at noon. And for them, if they're eating within 8 hours, then that would end around 8 o'clock if you're starting at noon. Mm-hmm. The challenge is when you eat your dinner late at night, then you're also likely to consume more alcohol and have some after dinner dessert. And having alcohol and a lot of sugar before going to bed is not the best idea to get good night's sleep. So that's why, if you can, it's better to start a little bit early so that you can finish your dinner by 6 or 7 p.m. in the evening. But if you're starting late, and if your dinner is at 8 or 9 at night, then just be mindful about alcohol and sugary snacks, sugary dessert.
And you explaining also that there are certain windows sort of that is good with training, like walking in the morning and more heavy training in the afternoon. So my question is, if you work against this rhythm, what will happen with your body?
Well, exercise at any time of the day is good for us. So let's stick to that. And then if we think about what time we'll get any benefit, in the morning, walking outside actually gives us, at least in, and not in winter time, but in other weather, other seasons, will give us enough daylight that will uplift our mood, and also we'll get some physical activity. Having more physical exercise in the afternoon is ideal, because that's when our heart function is much better, lung functions are better, muscle is more flexible, so our risk for injury is less. And recently, another breakthrough came from a group in Sweden who showed that people who have type 2 diabetes, if they exercise in the morning versus the same people exercising in the evening, they found that people who exercised in the evening significantly reduced their blood glucose level, which is desirable for type 2 diabetes, whereas the same people, when they exercise, heavy exercise in the morning, actually it had an adverse effect. That means the blood sugar level, in fact, increased slightly. So that's one example where scientists are demonstrating that exercising in the afternoon or evening is much better than exercising in the morning.
So you mean that there are nothing like morning people and evening people that we are talking a lot about, that you have your own rhythm, sort of?
Yes, morning people tend to wake up a little bit earlier in the morning, and they also go to bed a little early in the evening. And for them, they can still go outside a little bit in the morning to get some sunlight or daylight. But all of them would benefit exercising in the afternoon, because even for muscle tone and joint flexibility, it's much better in the afternoon. And all of us who are getting a little bit older, including myself, I realize that in the morning, my body is not flexible enough. So if I do more strenuous exercise in the morning, I have more risk for injury. So that's why, irrespective of whether you're a morning person or evening person, you'll always find some time in the late afternoon. When I say afternoon, it's somewhere between, say, 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the evening, some time to do heavy exercise.
You have also, you write in your book that it's not what you eat, it's when you eat, and you still lose weight if you are inside of this window.
Yes, so that is based primarily on preclinical studies we have done in rodents, where we gave mice all types of food on healthy diet. But as long as they ate within 8 to 10 hours, almost all of them got some benefits. So having said that, and now let's look at another example. If there is healthy food served on a dirty plate, then that's no longer healthy, because we may get stomach infection from a dirty plate. So similarly, a healthy food in the middle of the night, when our body is not ready to digest it, will not do any good, because that food may not be digested very well. Just like you may have your best friend up, but if your best friend keeps on coming to your house and knocking on your door in the middle of the night, you may not like that person very well. So that's the saying behind that when you eat is much more important. Having said that, what we are finding is when people start eating within 8 to 10 hours, after a few weeks, their food choices also change. They cannot eat too much sugary, salty food. They prefer to eat much healthier food. So it's kind of an automatic switch for you to look for better food once you start eating within this 8 to 10 hours.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for having you in my show, and good luck with your research. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and have a perfect circadian day.
Thank you.